Good evening, and this is the first edition to War on Politics. War on Politics, before I begin, does not only make fun of politicians and politics altogether, it makes fun of everything about the news today. And this edition is April 30th, 2010. Okay, this evening, and this morning, an oil slick has reached land in one of the biggest disasters in history, or at least American history. One reporter today called it the worst disaster in history. I, however, disagree. It is pretty disastrous. After all, it's killing animal life and everything. Yes, it's probably cost the most in recorded history. But it is not as bad as, say, Pearl Harbor, 9/11, or a lot of things. It doesn't, but it does affect life there. It does affect money. So, of course, the financial ruin may be extreme. That's the only thing I have to correct about that claim. Second, I have to say that the reactions by politicians were made me go, what the crap? Okay, because you have these politicians doing the same thing they always do with any situation. Here's what they do. Oh my god, that happened. Let's argue about it like we did with healthcare. Take 5 million years, and by the time this is solved, the whole world is in ruin. This is why we never get anything done. We just sit on our butts. Oh my god, you're a Democrat, we can't listen to you. And the other side's going, oh my god, you're a Republican, we can't listen to you. Grrr. Here's the thing. We can never get anything done if all we do is base our country off of stupid politics. Politics are like a game. The bad thing about a game is it's not real. Nothing can ever get done in a game, in real life. So, Washington, get real. Washington needs to get real. This is a crisis that needs to be handled as quickly as possible. And also, British Petroleum, some people know it as Beyond Petroleum, BP, reportedly had the worst pipelines for the drilling in the whole industry before the accident. And Obama, I'm not saying I hate Obama, I'm not saying I'm for Republican or Democrat, but Obama said more Gulf Coast drilling. Of course, BP, being one of the biggest oil manufacturers in the world, or at least in the United States, said, okay, speed up all of them, even the bad ones. That's not good. It's funny to me because it's ironic, but it's not really funny. Think about, you say, let's see, I don't know exactly how many people were missing during the oil rig explosion, but what was it, 20? Say in the comments if I'm wrong, but what was it, 20? 20 people were in that oil rig thing that disappeared. And BP is not prepared for their own disaster. And that was just the explosion part. They weren't even prepared for an explosion, which is oil is highly flammable. And then you have the ever so lovely lack of coordination for business. For some reason, any business that gets big always screws up because they are cocky. They think they're prepared for everything. Even their commercials said, hey, We already have all this. Yay. I mean, their name is British Petroleum. Okay? British Petroleum. They're so cocky that on commercials they don't say British Petroleum. They say Beyond Petroleum. They better go beyond petroleum now, because you see a lot of Exxon, but it's not as rich as it was in the 90s. Do you know why it isn't as rich as it was in the 90s? People stopped trusting it because of the oil spill in the 90s. Here we are 2 decades later, and we have the same problem with BP, only that last one got dumped off of a ship. This one is coming out of a pipe in the ground, looking like it will never end. But yeah, it makes you wonder, where was anyone on that day? I mean, you have the fact that people said, even Europe, most of the people in Europe, from what I've heard, was like, don't drill there, it's too dangerous. Us being Americans, we love to go against everybody else and say, hey, but there's better technology and there won't be as many mistakes. It doesn't take the technology. It takes a bit of bad luck. It's usually the bad luck that gets us, and a little bit of ignorance. Combine those two, you have disaster, which is what happened here. And now the oil has reached Louisiana. Oh my God. Huh. What would you call this? Oh, I know. A second Katrina. This is Obama's Katrina. Obama's big disaster that he has to deal with while he's in office. Unfortunately, Obama is the president that will only get 4 years. This is why I believe he will only get 4 years. It's not that he's a bad president. I'm not saying he's a good president or a bad president. Here's what I say, however. When you have a president who has been in there for 8 years, people don't like him. He was a wartime president. The next one's supposed to be the one that gets us out of a war or tries to finish a war. Usually, the public views that person who's still in war after 8 years, the president who's after the warring president, who causes the war, usually has the shorter term because people are sick and tired of of a president that is at war when people don't want to be at war. Unfortunately, people have a tendency to have short attention spans. Here's what happened, okay? 2001 hit. You had the 9/11 attacks. Americans were angry and mad, okay? So, of course, most of the Americans in the whole country wanted to go to war because we got sucker punched. Then again, we had sort of tall buildings, and stupid propaganda outside the country equals bad. But yes, basically, we were overconfident. We weren't going to get hit. Somebody said, oh, let's prove these idiots wrong. And we got mad. We got very mad. We decided to go to war. And here you have us today trying to get out of there. But since our country does one thing and says another, you never really know. All I know is this. That's why I believe Obama will not be reelected. But, there's a politician that has really, really got on my nerves this whole time. Here's one thing really got on my nerves. One state that comes to mind whenever I think of what the name of the show is, War on Politics. It is the new Arizona immigration bill. Here's the funny thing, is that this bill actually does the exact opposite. It is very unconstitutional. And they need to put it together. They need to actually take this bill to the federal